Hello everyone! Black Mirror recently returned to Netflix with season 7, and it had some pretty thought-provoking episodes, but nothing could have prepared me for the emotional roller coaster that one episode is. And yes, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. It's the one called Common People. Extraordinarily raw and real, episode 1 is almost like a disaster waiting to happen. A twisted prophecy we're all blindly working to fulfill, and after seeing it, I was left with bitter emptiness and a question that's probably plaguing a lot of people's minds right now. Is this going to be the world we live in? The episode centers around Amanda and Mike, a simple loving couple that faces an unexpected challenge when Amanda is diagnosed with a terminal disease. In desperation, Mike signs Amanda up for Rivermind, a high-tech system that will keep her alive with a few non-disclosed conditions, unfortunately. Common People has been praised online for its emotional weight, and I dare say it's one of those episodes that will leave a mark on us Black Mirror fans for a very long time. In this video, we'll discuss the symbols showcased in this particular episode, what they mean, and the reason why this episode resonated with so many of us, and not in a good way. But let's take a closer look at the symbols, shall we? Rivermind. This high-tech system seems like a medical wonder at first, delivering on its promise to prolong the life of terminal patients at the cost of what appears to be a fair price. But as the episode unfolds, we slowly realize that Rivermind is, in fact, a savior disguised as a salesman. On the surface, the platform appears to offer salvation, a way to cheat death and give your loved ones a second chance. It markets itself as the ultimate act of compassion, keeping someone alive for those left behind. It taps into the most vulnerable parts of the human condition, our fear of loss and our refusal to accept that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Because not long after Amanda returns home after her surgery, cracks start forming, and both Mike and we, the viewers, begin to understand that Rivermind shamelessly monetizes your right to stay alive and in exchange offers you a horrendous customer experience. Much like everything in our current reality, the platform itself is subscription-based, making you choose between tiers such as standard and premium. Is this a metaphor for how corporations monetize human emotion, much like social platforms do with love, grief, nostalgia, a sense of belonging? Probably, which brings us to our next important symbol, Dum Dummies. This is the famous website Mike uses to make some extra cash. On this website, users perform humiliating tasks for tips given by anonymous strangers who enjoy watching people make fools of themselves online. At first, Mike signs up out of desperation. He needs money if he wants to keep his wife on her subscription, but quickly finds himself performing humiliating challenges for digital tips. The website is symbolic of how late-stage capitalism turns labor into spectacle, especially for those with the deepest need, who are often the most economically vulnerable and the most easily exploited. Even the name Dum Dummies is degrading to its users, proving how quickly people throw away their dignity when push comes to shove and survival becomes crucial. So now, let's go ahead and talk about bees. At the start of the episode, we see Amanda teaching her class about bees, specifically bee drones, echoing another popular episode in the Black Mirror series, Hated in the Nation, where bees have disappeared and man has created a tech replacement to continue the pollination process. As we all know, bees contribute to the overall health of our ecosystem, and their disappearance would have devastating consequences to humanity. This is a nice parallel between the death of everything natural and spiritual in favor of all that is digital, corporate, and increasingly sterile. Also in the real world, bees work tirelessly, day in and day out without pause, mirroring how Amanda's digital life will persist within Rivermind, endlessly looping fragments of her identity. Their repetitive mechanized labor serves as a haunting reflection of Amanda's future, an existence that endures but only in a controlled simulation that needs increased funds to exist. Additionally, she is sleeping all the time, defeating the purpose of Mike having more time with his wife. Another important symbol that deserves to be discussed is the ceiling gum. Every anniversary, Mike and Amanda go to the Juniper Lodge to recreate the magic they experienced their first year of marriage. It becomes a tradition for them, to the point they book the same room every year, and it's in that specific room that we're introduced to the piece of gum stuck to the ceiling. It's still there when they return the next year after Amanda's surgery, and while the first time Mike notices it whimsically, this time it acts as a metaphor for him and his current life, how, just like that piece of gum, he is stuck in a very troublesome situation. It also serves as a reminder of their life before Amanda fell ill, a time when everything was simpler and they could never have imagined how drastically their circumstances would change. I've saved the best for last, but be warned, there will be major spoilers here. The ending. I admit I struggled with the ending a bit. I could understand Mike not wanting to live anymore, but I couldn't grasp why he would want to do the deed live on Dum Dummies of all places. But then I took a few moments to digest the whole episode and realized that I was looking for grace and dignity when in fact the episode showed us that it was about anything but that. By the end of the episode, Mike experiences a type of forced clarity and is willing to give the people what they want, even if it's a horrible last act. That moment reveals how the most personal and devastating human experiences, grief, death, trauma, are reduced to spectacles, consumed by an online audience. His final moment becomes a chilling performance, feeding into the very system that exploited him for quick digital rewards, and proving that we're all just part of a cycle we're bound to repeat over and over again. The ending symbolizes the ultimate degradation of human experience into capitalized content, and this is Mike's way of raising awareness about that gruesome reality. Yes, most would laugh behind their screens, mocking him for giving up on his life, but perhaps someone, somewhere, might experience an awakening themselves and recognize that something is deeply wrong, that things may have already gone too far. Black Mirror is extremely effective when it comes to pointing out the hidden challenges technology may bring into our lives if we're too eager to turn a blind eye to it. Common People is not just a sad episode, it's a warning. It raises concerns about the medical system, the idea of connecting ourselves to a universal cloud, handing over our data without reservations, all the while portraying the lengths we go to in order to save a loved one. It especially highlights that while the world may seem to be evolving and improving, it is actually failing to provide a safe space for individuals to grow and thrive. Instead, more problems are created, only to be met with solutions that come at a financial cost. Having Amanda deliver commercial ads throughout the day or sleeping more hours than necessary because her brain has to put in the extra work to boost the server during the night highlights how technology exploits the very essence of human experience, reducing it to mere labor for a digital system that operates outside the bounds of natural human needs. Personally, I used to regret not knowing what the future will look like after I'm gone, but now that everything is advancing with such alarming speed, I can safely say I'm not that curious anymore. On the contrary, I feel extremely out of place in this new world, so perhaps not catching up to it and slowing down a bit might not be so bad after all. How do you feel about the latest season of Black Mirror, and what is your favorite episode? I would really love to know. My name is Denny, thank you for watching my modest analysis. Please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more, and help me out with a like. Take care everyone, and see you in the next one. Bye!